Hi, I'm Ben Province, and welcome to Show Me the Music. On today's show, we'll look back at this year's LouFest and feature 3 acts. The festival's 7th year featured headliners Chris Stapleton and LCD Sound System. Joining them on the bill of 36 acts was Nashville's own Judah and the Lion, who told me why they think the STL is such a special place to play.
Just the spirit of St. Louis is so energetic and fun. We're still kind of building a fan base here and stuff, so it wasn't as big of a crowd necessarily as maybe some of the rest of the dates on the tour, but the people were just as loud and vibrant, so it's fun.
Awesome. The new album, that's your second full length. How has your sound evolved since your 2014 release?
Yeah, so with this album, Full Cop and Roll, the evolution from the first album, Kids These Days, was kind of just us wanting to push the creative boundaries. And, we have these kind of unique instruments with banjo and mandolin, and we wanted to kind of take that a step further and push the boundaries and creatively and just kind of see where we could go with it. And so, we plugged the banjo into a guitar amp and just kind of played a drum machine, just tried to see where we could go with it.
Very cool. And if I understand correctly, you guys love touring, like a lot. And when you make your albums, you have playing the songs live kind of on the forefront of your minds. Was that the case with Full Cop and Roll?
Yeah, absolutely. Our live shows are kind of, I think, our strong point. Like, not to brag at all, but just like that's kind of where we just have fun and we shine and we get to connect with the fans. So when we're writing the songs, a lot of times we try to think of how they're gonna react.
The people, they're dancing along to the mando. It's some sort of hip-hop beat.
We did 2 tours over in Scandinavia, mostly in Sweden. And the first tour was amazing, but it was kind of a lot. It's like we all never really been over to Scandinavia, so we were kind of getting used to the culture. And then we played 24 dates in 27 days or something like that, which is kind of a lot as a touring band when you get only 3 days off in the span of pretty much a month. So when we went over there initially, it was in the middle of wintertime. In the wintertime in Scandinavia, like the sun, if you're lucky, comes out maybe 2 hours during the day. And so that one was more of like a beautiful, like amazing experience, kind of like trying to kind of figure out who we were as a band, because the Swedish crowd, they're like sweet and reserved and like kind of shy. So after like the first show that we played, we kind of thought that they hated our music because it was just kind of like it would be like a dead American crowd, really. But we found out just like a part of their culture is just really respect. And then kind of towards the end, everybody kind of started getting our vibe a little bit more as well. So when we went over there the second time in the summer, it's kind of the exact opposite. Everybody was happy, sun was out the whole time. It's just an amazing opportunity for us to go and meet new people. And honestly, we have like such a family now there. We kind of feel like it's kind of our second home.
You guys have said you kind of all have similar philosophies in general. What do you mean by that?
We all have different backgrounds, different like ways of going about writing, and just kind of like what speaks to us as far as musically goes. But I think at the end of the day, like we all kind of like, even like the first time we ever played together, it was some kind of like chemistry that I at least felt that was there from the very beginning. And I think at the end of the day too, like we're all like pretty similar minded as far as life goes too. We all love life. We love people. Like we do this for people. And I mean, obviously ourselves a little bit selfishly. It's like we feel like we have something to say. But at the end of the day, if you're not doing it for people, like on and off the stage, then you're doing it. We think we might be doing it for the wrong reasons. So
Yeah.
and we're kind of there, perspective-wise.
To add to that, to like the philosophy part, I feel like we never want to like stay constant and make the same record. We always want to be changing and kind of pushing ourselves to new boundaries, and just excited to be able to create and be able to do this for a living. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Any great kind of behind-the-scenes touring stories off the top of your head you could throw at me?
Well, in Scandinavia, this 45-year-old lady could barely like really speak English. She was just like talking to me and Brian outside like the venue that we had just played, and she's with her husband. They're like taking pictures, and they're like, "You are the second best band in the world," and she's like looking at, and we're like pretty, it was like 2 years ago or something. And so we were like, dang, that's really good. Who's the first best band? It's like, oh, Band of Horses, of course. And then And then at the end of the picture, she grabs my face and gives me a big old wet one. And like her husband was like super into it, like taking pictures, and I was like kind of uncomfortable because it was kind of caught me off guard. It was really like endearing and sweet after the fact, but in the middle of it, it was kind of shocking to say the least. But if you're watching this, see you next time.
So I want to get back to the new album, Folk Hop and Roll. Where can people go, pick it up, check it out?
Yeah, it's on iTunes, Spotify. We also have a new single out. I'm not sure if I think a St. Louis alternative station is playing it here. It's called Take It All Back. We're really trying to like push that. We've never had a song on the radio. And it's like one of those songs, it's kind of repetitive and fun and really geared towards our live show. So
Yeah, it's a really infectious hook. I've heard it myself.
yeah, well, thanks. So yeah, just all the, like YouTube, all the outlets you can get it on. Our name is Judah and the Line. Check it out.
Hey, my life is real great. Feel I'm well on my way to my dreams coming true, and I'm getting to do it with you.
Our next guest is a testament to perseverance. Bonnie Bishop has paid her dues as an artist, releasing 4 independent studio albums and a live album that eventually led to a much-needed break. Now at the age of 37, Bishop's dedication has paid off. The singer released her first album on a label and 5th overall this year. Ain't Who I Was engineered by Chris Stapleton and Sturgill Simpson producer Dave Cobb. And I'm joined now by Bonnie Bishop. Kind of a new beginning for you as an artist.
Yeah, it has been. I had, been on the road for a long time, kind of doing it on my own and with the help of friends and living out of a 16-passenger van, making indie records. And then I had quit the business for a little while and ended up having amazing kind of year and a half off, and through that got to make another record with 30 Tigers. And yeah, so we're back on the road now, and that's our first national release.
Very cool, but that's not your first big accomplishment. You won a Grammy for writing a song with Bonnie Raitt. How cool was that?
Well, I wrote it with Al Anderson, and Bonnie recorded it. But it was amazing. She, was somebody I had always looked up to because she's, a road dog like I was, and a chick on the road, which is kind of a unique story. I mean, she was 39 when she had her first major radio hit.
Really?
And she'd already been on the road for 20-something years. And I also think most songwriters would agree having a cut by Bonnie Raitt is pretty awesome. It's kind of like she picks such great songs that to have, one of your songs picked is a great honor.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. So you spent some time back home in Texas, correct? When you were kind of maybe taking a little hiatus from music, moved back to Nashville. How much does that journey shape you as an artist?
Well, I think it shaped me as a person, and I'm still figuring out who I am as an artist after that experience. I've defined myself for such a long time by, the struggling girl, the struggling chick singer on the road trying to make it, and just, after years and years of not feeling like, I was really meeting my goals, I started to give up on myself, I think, and, put me in a very different mindset. And that's kind of why I left the business, is I didn't like what it was doing to my, my confidence and kind of just, my fight was going out of me, and I think I was exhausted from doing it the hard way for so long. So I think, the journey of letting go of that thing that I had been chasing so long, and trying to figure out who am I if that's not gonna happen. Who am I? I was really dependent on that for my sense of identity. So I'm still figuring that out. And now that I am back on the road, it's funny, because I'm like, oh, I'm singing again, but I don't feel so, I feel like I know a lot more about myself now as a person.
That's really cool.
And I worked on my relationship skills, which I didn't really have any because I was always, detaching to go on the road and be gone all the time. And I think I kind of ran from real love and real feelings. I wrote about them, but I couldn't actually live them out because I was always chasing after this thing. So I feel like I'm becoming a much more well-rounded person, and I'm looking forward to writing for this next album because I want to see what's gonna come out.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
So,
Yeah. So I guess Ain't Who I Was kind of an autobiographical project.
Absolutely.
In a lot of ways.
Absolutely. I know that Dylan said he didn't know where the songs came from and he didn't even know what they meant. They just came through.
Yeah.
And that's a similar experience for me, you know, like when a melody hits you and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I have to let this come through. But my emotions are always involved in that. And I always relate, you know, like the emotion getting triggered is where my inspiration comes from.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel that. And then I relate it to a personal experience so that I can write it honestly.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you find that you don't know what your songs mean sometimes until like a year or two after you wrote them?
Yeah, sometimes, and they take on different meaning, you know, and that kind of is that whole conundrum of does life imitate art or does art imitate life?
Sing a poem, melody. Blind my eyes until your light on I see. Ooh. Until love is all I need.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
taking some
very
time
much,
out.
yeah.
You're watching Show Me the Music. For more, visit BonnieBishop.com and check out the new album Ain't Who I Was on iTunes and Amazon. Bringing artists in town from all over the country is just one facet of the festival. LouFest aims to give festival goers an experience that is unique to St. Louis. Local artist John Henry was one of the many local acts this year. He caught up with me at the festival. And what does LouFest mean to you as a St. Louisan?
Well, I think that it's just a really tremendously well-run event. Great bands, great organization, and I was thrilled to be part of it.
And you released a new record called Dark City, Dark Country.
Dark City, Dark Country came out physically today, and it's available streaming and streaming and on iTunes today as well.
And Dark City, Dark Country is a reference to?
I wanted to write a record that kind of explored the way issues are viewed through two of the places where I've spent a lot of time in my life, which is in the city and in the country, and the lives that interact within those two worlds.
Okay, and Broken City is the first single, I guess you would say, off that
Yeah, I
record?
would say that.
And that's a song you released in 2012.
Yeah, I wanted to include that on the full length when we were ready to put that out. Recorded that one out of town down in Nashville, and that's basically just trying to figuring out cutting through what you really care about within all this white noise.
Gotcha, and this is your first full-length solo record, first released not with John Henry and the Engine. What made this a personal record you just wanted to be just John Henry?
I just wanted the flexibility to write and arrange music based on just what I wanted to do and not have to work within the framework of a set band.
Great, and what's your favorite memory of playing live around the city?
I mean, today was a really great day with everything, great weather and everything, and just being out in the park like this. So today was a big thrill. That's probably my favorite memory now of St. Louis.
And you mentioned the new record. Where can people go pick that up?
Yeah, they can pick it up at iTunes. You could get it physically at Vintage Vinyl, Euclid Records, and then Spotify and all the streaming stuff that people listen to that's on.
And you're online, of course. Where can people go follow you?
JohnHenryMusic.net.
Well, that'll do it for today's show. I want to give a big thank you to LouFest, Judah and the Lion, Bonnie Bishop, and John Henry. And on behalf of the entire crew, I'm Ben Province, and I'm asking you to show me the music.